Thank you, Carmel. I'm going to stay in one place so there's no feedback. So as Carmel mentioned, this constituent management solution is very simple in the sense of high impact, low cost, and really gives visibility to elected officials on the types of issues that citizens care about, whether it's input they get from a web interface, or whether it's input they get from calling a elected official's office, or a town hall meeting, other ways that they can gain information and insight into issues and concerns that constituents have. And similar to the customization available that you just saw, this is really a starting point for an organization to customize the types of workflows that they need, since out of the box or in an on-demand type solution, we can't guess where you would like to have issues routed. So we're going to show you an example of just how a record might be entered. But when you subscribe to an on-demand solution like this, we would work with you to input and to build the workflows appropriate for your organization, to tie into the GIS assets that you have, whether it's Esri or whether it's Virtual Earth. So the idea here is to not only give you the ability to try something online first, and then when you choose to buy it or to move it even to an on-premise environment, you also have opportunities to do some customization and to make the processes inside CRM fit the rules or the processes that you have inside your organization. And that's really important, because obviously you don't want to change the way that you route issues or the way that you do business in your organization to the software, and the software needs to work the way that you do. So we're just going to show you a very simple example to meet our 5 minutes. And again, this issue could come in many different ways, but this is patterned after what LA County Board of Supervisors is currently using to track issues inside of LA County. And as many of you may know, they're the largest local government in the world. So, case origin is a real simple pick list of where did the request or issue come from, and many of them will be folks calling. A very important piece of this is that when somebody does call in, or even sends makes a notification either at a board meeting or in person, they also may want to remain anonymous. So once we select where this came from, and the date, and who the constituent is, we may want to just use the anonymous constituent name, so that's a possibility. But more importantly, we don't want to duplicate names inside the system, so that from a reporting standpoint, we want to make sure that we can track everything. In this case, Carl Banks has talked about with us in the past, because as we all know, there's a certain group of folks that constantly have issues or constantly complain or maybe constantly bring up points. And then there are other organizations like homeowners associations that these folks may be associated with. So we want to make sure that we tie the name of that person to the proper organization, or if they're just representing themselves, so to speak, or their household, we want to be able to track that. So by using the contact entity inside CRM, that's pretty easy to do. Then in terms of an issue, once we select an issue, based on the lookup table and a plugin that we have here, we automatically assign that to the unit. In this case, we just call it Unit 101, but if sewer goes to wastewater treatment, or if it goes to public utilities or whatever the appropriate organization is, we want to automatically route that and have a set of workflows that will kick off based on that, which generally involves an email or a task being set up or something like that. But of course, because of the flexibility of CRM, a user could go in, and if they knew for a fact that in this particular case, this sewer issue is not to be handled by a particular department, they can always go in and change another one using the lookup functionality. Through the workflow process, there's different status values that we would assign. In this particular case, the user, depending on their security role, would determine that whether or not this is pending versus with a department response, or a workflow could change these different statuses. We recommend that. Then there's also the department contact lookup. If there's a particular person that handles these types of issues, then either the person taking the call or taking the issue could assign that, or workflow could assign those things as well. Also, in many cases, while there's somebody that the department contact, there's also a deputy who's responsible as kind of a case manager at the level of the mayor or commissioner or something like that, and that can be assigned either by the workflow or manually as well. What's really helpful is when there are special attention items, when it's not just a simple routing, that we capture additional information that might help expedite the case processing. So let's say in a case, for instance, if this call comes in about child support services, you'll notice that we're going to have different fields show up on the bottom that will give information to the caseworker so they can really help out in expediting the case resolution. So there's additional information that child services needs, for instance, like names and date of birth of the children, that we want to capture at the time of that initial phone call. If we just take some basic information and then somebody has to call back and gather that information later, then that could slow down the case resolution. Notice that if we select another, health services, then if this is a county hospital, for instance, we might want to put the specific name of the county facility so that, once again, for reporting purposes, if there are complaints or compliments associated with a particular facility, this will give us some reporting capability to be able to show that later on. And again, based on the values that we select here, that could kick off any number of customized workflows associated with the organization that are appropriate for that particular organization or that particular facility. So this is just a very simple example of how you can start using an on-demand type solution with something that is probably handled in a very simple way in organizations today, but that really can grow into something much larger over time. I think one of the great pieces of this on-demand offering is that there will be a trial period associated with it, and there will be the ability for organizations to just see how does CRM work in a number of different solution areas. And I'm sure that if you begin to try it and spend 30 or 60 days in that kind of environment, you'll begin to think of new ways and new ideas that you can use this tool for. But there are other solutions too that I want to point out that we will be offering. One of them is an agenda building solution to help with agenda builder and to help you with the approval process for agenda items. But one that ties in specifically with this case management or this constituent management is an inspection. On-demand inspection application as well, that for field inspectors, so you could route those calls or those issues that you get in constituent management to a field inspector in cases where they do need to follow up either with a caseworker or somebody that needs to go out maybe in a nuisance abatement case and investigate a problem. So it's just a quick and dirty of what we've developed as well.